Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Tonight's film is 1977's very unknown Cheering Section. This is Cheering Section. This thing is so unknown, it's so hard to get. I don't believe it's ever gotten a real official DVD release except by Code Red, which was a really kind of like a fourth generation transfer, some people have said, off like an old VHS tape. I bought this off a seller on ioffer.com, and they had their own VHS copy of it, and it does look real and sound really, really good. So give me an F. Score, team, score. This is 1977's Cheering Section. There it is. They even put the cover art and some pics and some kind of like lobby card ads for the film as well on the back of their DVD copy here. And this is Cheering Section from 1977. You know, right when I thought that I knew the bulk of cheerleader films, and I've had, I have the original kind of the thing that started off the cheerleader films on this YouTube page, the film Cheerleaders, and then some future reviews like the Revenge of the Cheerleaders and Swingin' Cheerleaders, and there's a review on here for Cheerleaders Wild Weekend. You know, the cheerleader genre is definitely something that is quite substantial in sexploitation and exploitation in general, and even bridging into horror at times. And even looking at Quentin Tarantino's, more modern film in the past 10 years, Death Proof, where they kind of make reference to the cheerleader genre. Cheering Section is a very, very unknown cheerleader film. And with its unknown status and extremely difficult to find a VHS copy of this, I could not find one. This is a film that, with its unknown nature, you have a very, very low budget film here. I mean, it definitely. I mean, most of the films, not most, but a lot of the films I review on this YouTube page don't have Hollywood budgets, to say the least, right? And this is one of those films, but the beauty and the magic of this film is wrapped up in its budget. So let's get into this film a little bit. We're going to explore Cheering Section. Have you ever heard of it before? And I'm glad I get to talk to you about it, because it's definitely something that's interesting and a great cheerleader film, a great film. So I made some notes up here, and I'm going to get into some things. Essentially, what we have here is we have a football team, a school, a new girl coming to the school, and a new coach. And really, this is one of those beautiful, magical teen films from the 70s where there really isn't a quote-unquote plot. The substance of the film is in the day-to-day activities. It's in the style, it's in the music, it's in the party, it's in the youth, it's in the rebellion, it's in the different characters, the different friends, the different romance, the different hijinks. That's what makes it so special here, folks. And so let's get into this film a little bit. In terms of the style of the film, for a film that's this unknown, we get close-ups. It almost has a documentary vibe to it at times, folks, where what I mean by that is, I remember the first time that I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I didn't understand what a documentary vibe would be. But, for a cheerleader film, this one really kind of has that in a way, where it feels like you're just watching these people do their thing. And there's definitely, the beauty of these films is a lot of the times that, they're not quote-unquote actors that you see in other films. Maybe this is their only film. And it looks like they're having a good time. It looks like they're just doing their thing. It looks like the camera is just there while they're frolicking around and doing car washes and raising money and doing all this crazy stuff and hijinks. Excuse me. It's a very loose vibe to the filming. There's a very loose style to the film, which works perfectly with the film. If you're going to have a film revolving around teenagers in school and youthful wildness and love and lust and rebellion, the style needs to be loose, and there's a very loose cinematic style to this film. And as I say loose cinematic style, the funny thing about that is that I wouldn't say it's cinematic because it has a documentary type vibe in it, and it is that type of loose, okay, mixed with the low budget. You're also getting beautiful, awesome 70s sunbeams in the film, if you know what I mean, okay? When the camera's getting the beams of the sun and those little, I know there's technical words for this, but I don't know, kind of purple circles, and it's just like really like just beautiful types of that it always reminds me of the 70s, if you catch my drift. And there's also kind of like a bit of an empty vibe as well, in a good way. And it has a similar empty vibe to me as the film that I reviewed in this page, Swingin' Sorority. Not quite as empty as Swingin' Sorority, but still that kind of empty, low-budget-ness, an empty, low-budget vibe to the proceedings in the film, okay? And if you catch my drift, if you understand what I mean, okay? Now, that emptiness is something that's hard to describe, but it kind of has a, sometimes when there's not necessarily music there, and sometimes when even there is music there, it's in the way that the people act. It's in the way that the people do the actions and say the words. It feels less cinematic and feels empty, which kind of causes like a lack of comfort in a way. But still, there's comfort in that, if you catch my drift. Let's get into the music for this film. The music in this film, just like most of these films, is made exactly for this film. Like some local band, a band that the director knew, a band that somebody knew, a local band they could get for cheap on the hire. Definitely homegrown music, and the music is very sparse in this. You don't hear a lot of music in this film at times, and that also gives it a bit of an empty vibe, okay? Just like Swingin' Sorority. And so the music is not always there, but when it is there, it's singing the lyrics to things that are happening in the movie, the title track, of course, and there's a car wash scene where it's actually, I believe, singing about the car wash. It's that kind of stuff. You only get that in this genre. It's so weird. It really just seems like this genre of film where the songs are singing precisely about what's happening in the scene at that particular moment in time. You get soft 70s rock, really good soft 70s rock type stuff. You get exploitation synth funk. Yeah, you're getting an exploitation vibe in here. You're getting a great almost sexploitation vibe in here as well with the music. And like I said, the lyrics are just spectacular when you're watching the things happening in the scene, especially the car wash scene. So I made a little bit of a list here for Gimme an F score, team score, cheering section. I made a little bit of a list here of just some of the things that kind of shot out at me with the movie itself and the story, and some pieces here to entice you for cheering section. We have a couple trying desperately to have sex. We have a lot of decked out minivans, almost reminded me of Mag Wheels at times, another movie I reviewed in this page, where, you had the full bed in the back, okay? Definitely the minivans. We have a drunk, older former cheerleader mom, okay? We have a minivan with pussy stickers for each time that the people have sex with a girl in the van, and they are cat pussy stickers, yes. We have bathroom stall sex. We have teacher class realism, just like the school days. There is definitely a vibe. Of course, you get classroom scenes in a lot of these films, but in this particular film, for some reason, to me, the classroom scenes really took me back, even in a bad way. Like, I was glad I wasn't there anymore, but then you also kind of wish you were in a weird way, if you catch my drift. But the classroom scenes had a realism to them that a realism that you don't necessarily see in a lot of these films. It really had an added realism to me for some reason. We have boogie. Seriously, we got the boogie boards in here, guys. Just like Mag Wheels, also we got some just a random like boogie board scene in here. Skateboards. The banana boards is really what I should say. Banana board skateboarding. And just some fantastic shots of that. Just randomly thrown into the film, just to give some energy and some vibe and some atmosphere to the film. We have a 50s drive-through in this film. Awesome 50s drive-through, and even kind of the drive-through itself. I don't know if it was real. I think it it might have been, really kind of calls out itself that it's an old school, you know, supposed to be 50s drive-through, and some action takes place there, and it just gives it a great vibe. We have a gas station sex room in this film. Yes, a room that is utilized for sex by the gas station attendant, benefiting the high school. Of course, as I mentioned previously, we have Bikini Cheerleader Car Wash. One of the best I've seen, definitely. It's wet, it's wild, it's fun, it's innocent, yet it's dirty. We have warring schools in this film, okay? Warring schools and the hijinks and the revenge and things happening towards each other, sometimes a bit, like, sometimes over the top too, kind of warring with each other. We have, when you watch this film, you're going to learn the 4 F's. But you're going to have to watch the film to find out what the 4 F's are. Very creative, very interesting, and involving a minivan. We have a sex ed teacher that, let's just say, really lives out what she teaches, and it's done in an implied, wonderfully erotic way that I really quite haven't seen before. We have a girl named Handjob. Fantastic. And some serious conversing about her name and how it will be changed as a result of actions. We have crazy dialogue in this film. We have some lines of dialogue in this film that will really sucker punch you in the face, that are vulgar and in your face, like a girl named Handjob. But it's not all the time, and so it'll sucker punch you, and it'll really bring you something great. We have one of the most vicious football coaches I've ever seen in movie history in this film. And we have an awesome party in this movie, a pool party, a house party, with the theme song of the film that you heard at the beginning of the credits, cheering section, actually being played live in the movie during the party. The sexuality of this film, you get, you know, topless, and I believe there were some butts, but it's mostly topless. But this is a film that, with the majority of the sexuality is in the cheerleader outfits. It's in the legs, it's in the thighs, the butts, through bikinis and through cheerleader outfits. And when I said close-ups, there are definitely, especially in the beginning of the film, but then also throughout the movie, the camera really makes no is shamelessly, you know, really gathering up the girls' bodies in almost a Jess Franco type of way. Although Jess Franco goes a little bit further, if you catch my drift. But in this particular film, you know, you're really getting the sexuality, you're really getting the eroticism of the girls in the cheerleading squad, and definitely, you know, just kind of showing their bodies, and the girls are sexually attractive, and they're pretty, and they're believable, and you know, they really kind of have a vibe of just looseness and wildness and youthfulness. And like I said, if you like legs, if you like butts, if you like thighs, if you like boobs, if you like, you know, just that whole aspect. The sexuality is not explicit, and it's not a ton of nudity, but the sexuality is in those aspects, even with clothes on, okay? And for the ladies, there's a lead guy in this film that the ladies might like also, a 70s attractive look for a guy, for some of the ladies out there. This is 1977's cheering section. If you like cheerleader films, if you like exploitation, sexploitation, low budget, unknown, that you're watching this page for the right reason. This is 1977's cheering section. Thank you so much for watching a 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Please feel free to check out my own personal films at youtube.com/poopy diarrhea. Thank you and good night.